Evening, traders from across the globe. Thank you for tuning in to Tales from the Pit, episode number 3. At least that's what I think you should be tuning into right now. Let me just pause this. I have to do my own setting up over here, so let me take care of that. Just give me one moment to pull out the chat room for you traders. Mikey, D&D those phones, please, so we don't hear that anymore. And let me pull out the chat room for you guys. It's right here, and this way we can speak to one another. At least it's supposed to be right here. All right, go live. There's my little chat room. Oh, there it is. Pop out chat, please. And just give me a moment, kids. And there it is. So we have a chat room. Episode number 3 is on its way. We don't need that. All right. So I think I am good to go. So thank you for tuning in. We have a chat room right here. If you guys would like to speak, I'll leave my letters in caps so you can see what I'm typing. Hello and welcome to my 3rd episode. If you are tuning in, I thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really hoping that what I'm showing you here is entertaining and you find the story cool. And I promise, once we get back to the floor stuff, it'll just lead to some really great, interesting anecdotes and all sorts of great rules. So again, thank you for tuning in. And if you recall where we left off, I was just giving you my junior high school years growing up with the boys, as we call them, who hired me to do some crazy functions. And in episode 2, I told you all about that good stuff. But that only got me through junior high school, right? It only got me to the 9th grade. And then we go 10, 11, and 12 while I'm working for this auction company for the boys. And I've got to figure out how to now go to high school and convince my high school teachers that I've got a job that makes so much money, it's probably double their salary without being insulting. And I've got to convince my teachers. Now, you know, once you hit high school, you got all different classes with different teachers. I've got to convince my science teacher, my art teacher, my gym teacher, my social studies teacher, my math teacher, science. I've got to convince them to allow me to do something. So again, Oscar didn't exist. I'm still Michael at this time. So Jacket goes away. And my task now is to try to keep this high-paying job with the boys till I turn 18 and juggle high school at the same time. Now, you got to go to high school every day unless you get 43 U's back in the day. Remember, you bad guys, remember what 43 U is, right? So you get a 43 U if you're absent too many times throughout the year, or basically you don't pass your tests, you don't do your homework. If you get a 43 U, usually you get them all the way down the line because you're one of those kids. You can't get out of high school. So I have to convince my teachers that you've got to let me go to work 3 days a week, and I'll come into school 2 days a week. Sometimes I'll come to school 3 days a week and go to work 2 days a week, but you've got to let me go to work. So here's what I started to do. I started to make deals with each teacher. Right in the first week of 10th grade. So Mrs. Wapakana, we'll call her, not throw a name out there. Mrs. Wapakana was my art teacher. And I approached my art teacher and said, listen, I have this fantastic job. I come from a poor background. They're paying me $500 a week. Here's what I promise to do. When I come to school, every day I'm in, I will raise my hand in class, participate. I will never fail a test. I will show you I've learned the work. But I can't do homework, and I cannot be here 5 days a week. When I'm here, I promise to show you I know your work, and I will never fail a test. Will you allow me to just come in 2 to 3 days a week and not mark me a 43 U? So Mrs. Wapakana, as I call her, says, maybe we could do that. Let's go outside. So we go outside, and she says to me, if you give me pot, I'll do that deal for you. Really? All I gotta do is smoke some pot with you and you'll do this for me? And she says, yeah, basically. So my first deal is with Mrs. Wapakan, and all I can do is smoke pot with this lady, right? So, done. All right, so I get that one out of the way. I go to 4 other teachers are just basically like, Oscar, if you promise that you will come in and pass those tests. And when you do come in, I'm going to call your name. You're going to get class participation. If you show me you know my work and you pass my tests, I'll take your deal. So I got 5 teachers done. I've got 1 left, my gym teacher. So he's gone now. I could say his name. So Mr. Williams, he says, can't happen. Can't let you do it. Oh, come on, Mr. Williams. Now, from the first day I met this guy, I know drunk people. I come from the type of neighborhood where you know drunk people. I'm going, this guy's drunk. I grabbed my friend Dave, who's still my lifelong friend till this day. Dave, look at this guy. Mr. Williams is drunk. Well, yeah, you're right. He does look drunk. All right, the guy drinks. Now I got to find out what he drinks. And like within 3 days, I don't know, we were snooping around in the locker room and we opened up his desk drawer and he's got a little bottle of JD. And I went, oh. No, the next day I come in with these 2 little pints of JD in a bag, in my bomber jacket. I keep it hidden. I see Mr. Williams. I go in his office. I go, Mr. Williams, remember I told you I cannot come to gym. I just can't do gym. I got to go to work. Forget about gym. Come on, I'm as athletic as can be, but I don't need gym. I'll give you a bottle once a week. I'll start you off with these 2 bottles. I'll give you a bottle once a week if you let me go. And this knucklehead says yes. So here I am. I'm in high school. I've got to bribe teachers with marijuana and alcohol. This is no joke. So they agree to my deal, and I'm able to start going to school without much trouble. And time starts to pass, and I'm working with the auction guys, and I've got a bunch of my friends working with me, and we're having great weekends and going down to the Jersey Shore and all this great stuff you do as a young teenager. And of course, I am passing my tests when I go to school. I did exactly to the teachers what I promised I would do. So, a couple of things happened in between when I start school, make this deal with these teachers, and I get to my diploma. So one of the things that happens around my school is we've got this crazy motorcycle cop, this insane motorcycle cop, but he's on a scooter. And this guy wears sunglasses and a helmet, and I swear to you, you walk up to school in the morning, and this guy's laying in the bushes with his binoculars on, looking to tackle kids cutting out of school. Worst, catches you smoking pot, you're dead, you know what I mean? His job is to come flying out of the weeds and tackle kids. So it's not really his job. He's supposed to just be a beat cop, but he takes his job seriously. So I can't tell you how many times we've witnessed him come out of the weeds or come flying out with his scooter and jump off the scooter and the scooter smashes and he tackles you. Luckily, he's never got me or my friends before, but we've seen it enough. And he's a tough cop around high school. So we're, I don't know, they changed the rules by the time I hit the 10th grade. It used to be a free-for-all. You could leave for lunch and come back after going down the street and having a hero. You go out in the schoolyard and smoke cigarettes during whatever time you feel like. If you're cutting out of 3rd period, go smoke in the schoolyard. Come back for 4th period, the doors were open. Well, come 10th grade, they changed it all. We used to call it Nazi New York because all the rules changed and all the doors had to be locked. And if you opened up a door and went through it, you're out of school for the day. That's it. Your parents get called. You get a cut card. Rules have changed. No more free-for-all for you kids. So it's 3rd period, it's Christmas Eve. And, I told you I'm from a bad neighborhood with a lot of bad kids. So me and my friend Dave, we come walking out of the school and I put this little thing in the door so it won't close. And we're on the steps. There's like 4 marble steps and then 4 doors where all the kids go in. And my friend Dave says to me, now I'm wearing my bomber jacket. It's winter time, right? It's the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve. I've got like a little bottle of blackberry brandy. I've got a Kubaton. I've got like brass knuckles. I've got some pot on me. A knife in my back pocket. I got all kinds of stuff on me, right? My usual day at school. So I got all in my pockets. And me and Dave decide we're going to step out of 3rd period. And we're going to hang out on the steps. And we'll smoke some cigarettes or whatever's going to happen. And we'll go back in. So I light a cigarette because that's what we did back then. We thought it was cool. And my friend Dave lights a joint. Puts it in his mouth. And out of nowhere, James O'Carrollin with his binoculars is on his... he's on his scooter. This guy comes up the stairs on his scooter, lets the scooter fly and smashes into the school door, tackles Dave. He gets him on the floor. And he grabs us both and he brings us into the school. Luckily, it's right between changing classes. So all the hallways are full, and this cop walks in front of us. So it's the cop, Dave, me. So as I'm walking through, I'm seeing my friends, and I'm taking stuff out of my pockets, and I'm handing stuff away, and the bottle's out, and the knife is out. I got just about everything out. But in my sock, I got this little envelope with marijuana in it. Did you ever see... Well, I'll get you there first. So he takes us into a room. You know, he's like, Dave, stand there and empty your pockets. And he tells me to go sit in a chair next to a desk. So, you know, in school, if anyone's been to public school, you know those green waste paper baskets? They're empty. You know, they're made out of tin. If you hit them, they make noise. Well, I've got the only thing left on me is this thing in my sock. And he's searching my buddy Dave. And I take this thing out of my sock slowly so nobody can see. And I toss it into the garbage pail. And it's empty, and it goes ting. And this cop just turns and looks at me in school and goes, "Oh, I wasn't even gonna search you, you moron. You're dead." He picks it up and looks at it. "What's this?" I went, "Oh, I wasn't even gonna search you. I wasn't even gonna call your parents." I'm like, "Oh, we're dead." So he finds everything Dave has on me, and he's got my stuff, and he walks out of the office. What the hell would he do that for? He comes back about 10 minutes later and he goes, "All right, guys, it's Christmas Eve. Get the hell out of here. Both of you go." Like, really? We could leave? You're not going to arrest us? You're not going to call our parents? He goes, "Nah, both of you guys get out of here." And he lets us go. So Dave walks out the door and I grab the handle. And as I turn back, I look at him and I went, "Come on, James." His name's James O'Carroll. "Come on, James. It's Christmas vacation. All the pot dealers were on vacation. Can I please have my pot back for the vacation?" He starts yelling at me. I give you an inch. You asked for a mile." So I had a high school like that. It was just out of control. Now get this. 12th grade, two grades later, us being attacked by this cop, and he's kind of cool about it. You know, he's like a father. He beats you up, sends you back to class. He's a pretty cool cop. Nobody ever seems to go to jail. So we have this party for a friend of mine that fell down an elevator shaft in on 7th floor of a project building. Comes out of his house, hits the elevator button, doors open, he steps in, there's no elevator. 7 floors. Gets busted apart but doesn't die. This is when we're in like the 6th grade. Well, he gets paid when we're in the 12th grade. And he throws this insane party. It's I'm glad to be alive party. 3 bands, people from every neighborhood, kegs everywhere. It's going to be a blast. Well, we pull up, and there's kids everywhere, and what a great party, and the bands are playing, and the kegs of beer are all lined up. And all of a sudden, this motorcycle pulls up. Big Harley, guy full of leathers, you name it, everything. Pulls up on his Harley, throws it on the kickstand, takes off his helmet, puts a joint in his mouth and lights it, and it's the cop, James O'Carroll. We're all, every kid in school's running for cover when we see it's James. And he's like, no, it's okay, kids. We're not on school property. What happens after school happens after school. We didn't know he was that cool, but I guess that's why he never put any of us in jail. So this is the type of neighborhood that I lived in. And this, you end up going down the wrong avenues when you end up living in a neighborhood like this. So luckily, as I mentioned in the first episode, I had stumbled upon the trading floor when I was 18 years old, which got me out of this hood life and out of working with the boys and all that stuff. Although I always knew I was going to college to be a programmer. So that was sort of embedded in me since I was 10 or 12 years old. I was always going to be going to college to be a programmer. And when I did, oh, by the way, let me finish this high school stuff and then we'll get back to the floor. So by the 10th grade, I didn't even mention 5 or 6 of the other stuff that happened. We're already told, me and my crew, half my friends are told, don't even consider ever coming to the prom or walking for graduation. You'll get your diplomas, but you're not coming to the ceremony. We were in that category by the 10th grade. So now you got to understand, I've gone 10, 11, and 12 of no gym at all. And I'm going to graduate in about 3 months. And I haven't had a gym class the whole time. I've been blessed. I've spent some money on bottles, but I haven't had gym. And I get grabbed by a vice principal about 3 weeks before graduation. He goes, Mr. Carboni, we need to speak to you. There's been a little bit of a problem. We think maybe you're involved in it. I haven't been in trouble in a while. I mean, my dad hasn't been called in a while. I don't know what I've done. So I follow him, and he brings me in, and he says, Mr. Williams has been fired. He's been brought up on charges. And you, Mr. Carboni, you don't get a diploma. Not unless you come back after you graduate. We're gonna let you graduate. You're not gonna walk in graduation. I'm not handing you your diploma until you come back and you give me 0 through 8 of gym for 6 months. I had to go to school and do gym from 7 in the morning till 12:30 in the afternoon. Till 1:30 in the afternoon every day for 6 months to get my diploma. But so these are some of the things that were happening in my life that made me wonder, is this what life's about? You know what I mean? Is this how we go through life? Happy-go-lucky, going crazy? So that's sort of some of the fun high school stories that I had that led me to. So all this time now I'm working at the auction company. And you know what, we're doing auctions, as I had mentioned in yesterday's video, and I think the last auction that I did was a men's clothes store in New Jersey. I can't say I remember exactly what part of Jersey. And, I'm just about 18, and we get to this high-end all-male clothes store, and we get to auction off everything inside, and it's got $3,000 suits, $800 ties, $1,500 shoes. I am getting a wardrobe. So I end up, these guys give me a wardrobe of stuff. Yes, I did create the Omni myself. You know what? We've got some questions. Let me address them. Oscar, when did you have time to study for tests? At night. Oh, when did I have time to study for tests? Let me just give you that. Here is my life. I never knew I was studying to work the night markets. When I was a kid, I believed that when you slept, you've lost hours that you could never get back. Once you go to sleep, those hours are gone. And what are you sleeping for when there's stuff to do? This is me at 7. So my dad knocking on my door. What are you doing at 3 in the morning with your light on? He would walk in, school night. Why is your light on? You got to go to school in a few hours. Dad, I'm reading. Yes, but it's late. Well, Dad, when you go to sleep, you lose those hours forever, and I like using my hours, so I'm going to read. This would happen night after night. He was like, how do you do this? I didn't know. My whole life, I've been an insomniac. I was just waiting for the markets to go electronic one day so I could move to Vegas and trade 24 hours. So who knew I was in training? So when did I find my time to study? All night long. I'd stay up till 3, 4 in the morning. It's just my way. I do that till this day. I'll stay up till 3:34 Eastern time, and by 7 I'm sending flash updates. By 8:30 I'm shouting on my feet. It's just the way I live. So I've always been by accident studying for staying up late. And then GZ says, hi Oscar, cool thing about hearing your program. You created the Omni yourself? Absolutely, 100%. What would you program today if you could give future Carbonis a tip for the future? Well, it's funny to hear you say that, because guess what this week is for? This week, right now, my programmer, Tony, thank you, Tony, love you to death, is in town, and we're in town to use AI to enhance what I do in the markets. Because AI is here, and there's no way I'm going to run after it. I'm going to get in front of that freight train. I'm going to incorporate it into what we do, and I'll be all over AI, just like I was all over computers before they even started. I was writing programs. I helped revolutionize getting charts off the floor, which you'll hear all of this, off of paper onto computers. Then, phones came out, cell phones. I got involved in all that stuff. And then the internet came out. I was the 3rd trading site on the internet in 1994. I've had a website on the internet ever since. Blockchain has come out. I'm building a streaming media company called Technotainment Streaming Media with the founder of MTV and Nickelodeon, my partner. We're getting in front of blockchain. And now that AI is here, I am getting in front of that. In fact, for blockchain, I've been studying it, trading it, and I mine crypto in 3 different places that I have as I speak to you. So I always get in front of freight trains. I got in front of the computer freight train. I got in front of the internet freight train, telephone freight train, which came before the internet, and blockchain, and now I'm getting ahead of this AI stuff. So I promise I'll incorporate AI with everything I know about computing. In fact, I gave my I gave my buddy Tony an example last night while we sat around and sipped a little scotch, and told him what I was thinking we can do with AI. And because of my computer background, and I was there literally before charts ever got onto computers, I helped write the code to get charts on computers. I know how to speak to AI and tell it what to go look for, way more than these crazy kids that think they test AI for a few days and they think they got a program. So I promise you, this week, next 10 days, I will feverishly work AI into what we do here so that we are not running behind a train trying to catch up. We stay in front of that freight train and be the first ones out there. It's my way. I've been this way with any new technology that comes out. I'm not afraid of AI. I'm going to incorporate it. AI, I promise you, AI is as smart as the questions you ask it. It's as smart as the information you give it. If you're stupid, your AI is going to be stupid. If you are intelligent and understand how to ask proper questions and feed it proper information, your output will be that much more standard higher. So garbage in, garbage out is basically what AI is. And I've already done some experimenting. Now Tony's here. I'm letting him run some of those experiments. We'll see where this goes. So when I finally got out of high school, I got to be honest, I couldn't do it. This is the truth. I usually don't admit this to people. I couldn't do my 6 months of gym. I couldn't do it. He wanted me in 5 days a week for 6 months. It interfered with the money I was making. It interfered with everything. Now, I'm a kid who passed all his classes and has his grades, and he's ready to graduate. Just needs 6 months of gym, which is 4 years combined. And I said, listen, you got to let me out, man. I'm losing too much money. These guys need me at work. How do I get out of this mess? He goes, well, you already have your diploma. Why would you want to skip out on gym? You won't graduate. There's got to be a way out. He said, well, if you want, why don't you go take a GED? You'll be out in 3 hours. I said, what's a GED? So it's the same thing as a diploma. People that aren't all that academically inclined will make their way through high school, not get out, take a GED, and that's how they get out. I said, oh, so it's a moron test. He goes, well, I don't want to call it that, but I think you'd pass it. And I'm like, is it worth it? He said, well, it's up to you. I say you finish gym and get your diploma. I said, let me ask you a question. In your entire life, did anybody give a crap what high school you came from? As long as you had a college degree, do you think they'll care what high school I came from or what diploma I got out of high school? I said, no, as long as you go to college, I don't think so. And I went and I took my GED in a class of people that 12 of us took the GED, 9 failed. Some of them failed 3, 4, and 5 times. I don't know. I went in there, I took my GED, I passed it that day, and I was graduated. So I couldn't do the gym. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. When I was a small kid, I passed all my classes, and my teachers were very happy with my work. But yeah, paying that knucklehead that bottle of booze for getting me out of gym. Yes, I helped make a lot of money for my family and whatever, but I had to take that stupid GED test. I didn't take the class for it, by the way. I just took the test. Anyway. So that I generally never admitted to my kids till they got to college. I don't know. I didn't want them to think, well, Dad, look how well he did. He didn't finish school. I did finish school. I just didn't finish punishment of school. So I kind of out of the Mikey. Did I ever tell you that? Ever? That I didn't bother that I had to take the GED in order to not do gym for all those months? Because I think I told you guys I graduated high school just to set the right example, because when you're young, you got to watch what you tell your kids. But yeah, if I remember right, Mikey, I don't think I ever told you that I took a GED. Yes, I made sure you guys didn't know until you were already in college, and now I don't have to worry about it. Don't need a college dropout taken after Dad. I mean, a high school dropout. I didn't drop out. I did very well in school. So then, when I did go to college and I took my computer classes, I did COBOL. Anyone know what COBOL is? They're cards, punch cards. And you type on a keyboard, and it punches holes in a card, and you put a stack of cards in a card reader, like a money counter, and it reads through your program, and then it belts out the program on paper and you've got to debug it. And one of the problems with this crazy class was you'd have a program that stopped running, so you went and debug it, and you debug it for 27 hours of work, and what you found out was the little side of the card had a little notch, or it was bent. And that's why the program's not working. The programming behind it's fun. It was difficult back then. That was called COBOL programming on a mainframe where you literally had cards, sort of the same type of cards when, you ever see when you take when you take your tests in school for high school and they give you that booklet and you got to fill out all the little boxes, check the boxes. You don't check them, you fill them in pencil. It sort of looked like that, but they were punch cards. So anyway, that was sort of some of the stuff that led me to finally going down to the trading floor. And as I started with episode 1, turning into this Oscar guy. And boy, is there a lot of excitement that takes place once I become, of course, I don't become Oscar for quite some time. I do become Michael on the trading floor, clerk, but eventually he turns into Oscar. And I promise we're going to talk about a lot of that good stuff. So this phone's going crazy on me. Sorry, kids. But this should get more exciting because the stuff that happened on the trading floor is dynamic and diverse and so many lunatics. Just picture what's going to happen. Imagine hanging out with a crowd where you've got people from their about 18 years old to 45, 55, somewhere around there. The ones that are above 26 and into their 55s make too much money, and you stand around all day and it's like, all right, what are you going to do today? Well, I'm going out on my boat. How about you? Oh, I'm going to buy a Porsche. What are you doing? Hey, why don't you come with me tonight? We're going to take over this restaurant. We're going to have a bunch of dinners and we're going to wine test. Then we're going uptown to Barney's and we're all buying $10,000 worth of suits each. It was like that, right? But at the same time, we were a bunch of kids. It's like high school recess during lunch when they let everybody out in the schoolyard. Because on the floor, when there's nothing doing, and you step out of the pit a little and you stand around it and you hang out and bullcrap with your friends. So what do? Me, I would put $100 bill on a fishing string and throw it out there in the aisle and wait for someone to go to try to pick it up and yank the fishing string. You're reading newspapers, kick me signs on guys' backs. If you're really good, you make spurs. And then you get them on someone's foot when they're not looking, and everybody starts yee-hawing them across the floor. And then it gets busy. And when it gets busy, everybody gets in that ring, and those same guys that are friends stab each other in the back as hard and as quickly as they can, would steal their own mother's money, which I have watched people do, and we will discuss. And it becomes a very difficult place to stay. And then things slow down again, and the antics start. So another thing that the floor has done